Next step, I will take the drive shaft off from the only drive shaft that's actually left in this car. Car is jacked up, and in order to do that, yank up, set the parking brake, go to task, basic ratchet, and a number 9 or number 6. I can't really make it out. Hex or Allen socket. And I'm just going to use a hammer just to tap in the hex socket. A lot of dirt and debris gets caught in there over the years. I went in there all the way so I don't end up stripping it, okay? Let's get hop to it. Crawl under the car with your trusty safety glasses. Set up my hex socket. Get it started. Try it again, get it started. And I'm going to tap it in with a little hammer here. Nothing too fancy. So you go in a little further. And I attach my ratchet. And remember, lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. And here we go. One. Just go to the next bolt, release the parking brake, turn wheel, get bolt to about 1 o'clock. Take hex socket, get it lined up, start it, hammer, tap it in the remainder, take the ratchet and lefty loosey, there we go. So. The Bentley manual actually recommended you take a very long extension. I just don't see the need for that myself. Parking brake, we'll bring that bolt to the somewhat to the top, say 11 o'clock. Probably the most clearance to get that hex socket in. Set parking brake. Crawl on the car. Take hex socket. Get started in the bolt. Take hammer. Tap it in. And attach socket, ratchet, and the lefty loosey righty tighty. There you go. Voila! Nothing to it. Okie dokie. Let's go and attempt to remove some shifter cables here. Making and bending things, but sometimes I just can't help it. Okay, don't do it like this. Wow, this is not good. Oh, I should delete this video. It's all just come out now. It's supposed to come out. There we go. What I've done here, I've bent this tab here that holds the clip on. See how easy or uneasy this comes out. Not that easy, of course. There we go. Unfortunate, but I'm just going to delete that video. It's something that anybody needs to see. Let's attempt to pop this one off. It's just supposed to pop off. Use 2 screwdrivers, they say, and just pop off. Well, there we go. Need a little persuasion, I see. Let's see. One cable is away. Oh, cable number 2. That's right, it just pops off, really. So, cable number 2, let's just hide this. Let's hide that. Okay. Next step, unplugging the reversing light switch, unbolting and gently removing the slave cylinder. So here is the plugs right here. It's a little clip. Just push that and wiggle the plug free like this. See right here? Push that in, wiggle the plug free and it will come right off. 13mm bolt right here. We'll remove that socket here. I find that once the ratchet doesn't ratchet anymore, you can usually use your finger to get rid of it here. Important note here, after you remove the slave cylinder, do not depress the clutch again. So now, time to work this slave cylinder. Wiggle it loose, and wiggle. It's supposed to go towards the back of the car. That's a problem when you've never done these things before. But the line's long, so I can drop the transmission a little bit. Have a little bit more wiggle room in there, and I'm gonna take it out. Gonna go ahead now and remove the left transmission mount. There's another mount on the right side, so I'm gonna take this one off first. Then I will loosen some bolts on the right side, but the transmission is securely mounted to the engine, so I don't think it's gonna move. There's two 13mm nuts here I'm gonna remove, and two 15mm bolts that go in the transmission I'm gonna remove. Do not loosen or remove this nut here that holds the bracket to the transmission mount, because this will, as the Bentley manual says, damage the mount. Loosen it first. There you go, now spinning. Oh, the engine must have just tilted ever so little, so therefore I'm going to support the transmission here. Take my trusty motorcycle jack here, support it with some wood blocks between the transmission and the motorcycle jack to get the proper height. And now I have supported the transmission with the jack. Now I'm going to proceed and remove the left transmission mount, followed by the right transmission mount. There should only be one bolt up here, the 15mm bolt holding the transmission mount up now. Oh, wrong socket. I hate that when it happens. There you go. Okay, just move it out like the way like this, or there you go. Just wiggle and waggle it until you get it out. Left transmission mount, check. Doesn't matter if I remove the bolts on transmission first or the bolts on the chassis first. I don't think it's relevant. If the transmission is gonna fall, it's gonna fall. Not sure why I'm taking the mounts off first. Shouldn't I be loosening the bolts holding the transmission to the engine first? It doesn't hurt when you're doing any kind of project like this. Question the manual. It doesn't always, it's not always right. Not my preferred way of doing things. Look at the 3 bolts that's supposed to be here. Is one missing? Yeah, one's missing already. Okay, I get it. So I would imagine the person I bought this car from, when they took a drive shaft out, they took this bolt out of here for some reason. Was it missing already? See it right here? I'm holding Trouble 8. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this bolt and the top bolt before I remove the transmission mount. I'm gonna be laying under a car. I'd rather be laying under a car that still has somewhat safety secured to the body of the car. That's just my own personal opinion here. Let's see, have to lower this. Definitely needs to be supported. I forgot to do something here. Well, that's not good. As I was taking the transmission mounts off, I realized that the engine was starting to tilt. I didn't see anything in the instructions on either one of the books that told me to support the engine. I remember reading something, but then I remembered that a little while ago I had this little bracket manufactured for this purpose. I know in the books they tell you to support the engine from the top, but I'm gonna show you how you can just get one of these manufactured. I'm gonna put the specs I guess in the notes, or just gonna put a picture of it in a video. Let me just show you where I bolt this on to support the engine. So instead of supporting the engine from the top, I'm gonna actually just support the engine from the bottom with this bracket here. That bracket, this is actually just a plate, just a plate with two holes in it that is gonna bolt onto the cross member on the bottom, and then the engine is basically gonna rest on that plate just like this. So I'm gonna show you how that's gonna be done. Remember here, the two bolts right here where the skid plate came from. See, two holes right here, then go down right here. So I'm going to utilize those two holes, put this plate on here, like this, and then essentially what's going to happen is the plate's going to be bolted onto the subframe here, or cross member, and then the engine is going to just rest on here. Theoretically, that's what should be happening. I'm using a different bolt here, a longer bolt from something else, because it's a pretty thick steel plate. And this is going to be using a shorter bolt here because I think this thread in here is kind of stripped, so I'm going to tighten it up here, right here. That's it, nice and tight, easy peasy. Looks very, very simple to do that, doesn't it? Okay, again, I'm changing things up as I've written in the book. I'm going to loosen, take off this two. Make sure you can see this here. So before I support the transmission here, I'm actually going to go in here and remove the bolt here and the bolt there. I'm going to remove those before I support the transmission. Make my life a little easier. 16mm socket, big Johnson breaker bar, and boom. See that? Nothing to it. Sixteen is one up there. Yep, looks like it. Okay, I see that. Ratchet now. Okay, that's done. Next side. Whew. Notice something? I noticed that the reverse switch plug wire is still connected to this little clip here. So I'm going to take this out. Now it's completely out of the way. So now I shall, if you can see this, I'm going to remove. Oh, Jesus, everything's so tight here. This bolt here, and there's one just right above it. trusty 24-inch breaker bar, 16mm socket, and just ever so slightly. Well, let's remember, often there's more than one way to do things. This is not that big of a deal. I just connect it together 3 extensions. Let's see if we can get in there. Oh, like butter. So easy. Okay, look at that. Didn't even have to crawl under the car for this one. That's what I call a small victory. I have this extension that gives the socket a little bit of a swivel here. See that? So it just helps you to get around a bend here and there. Nope. Perfect, look at that. So after I take this bolt off, there's actually only one more bolt holding the transmission to the engine, and that is located at the top. So now, take this bolt out. My socket here. This bolt out. Just remember that the top bolt had a washer in it. The bottom bolt didn't. Potentially by design. Moving my little contraption here. Motorcycle jack. So you're going to jack it up. See, it's just touching, the wood's touching the transmission. You see, go up just ever so slightly. That should hopefully take most of the weight off the mounts now. Will allow me to take the mounts off no problem, and then the transmission should be sitting freely here to pull off. Another thing I want to point out, you can probably see I chose to not remove this muffler support mounted in the transmission. It says to take it off. I'm going to leave it on there because it looks like it's going to sit there nicely on the floor. Again, this transmission is not going back into any car anytime soon. I'll be storing that, and hopefully I'll never need it for my other car. Moving transmission link. I think I actually put a little bit too much pressure on this. Here we go. See that now it's nice and loose. You can see that now nice and loose now, so it should be. I need to take the. You'll know if it's really hard to take the bolt out, then you know there's some tension on it. Okay. So yeah, start here. Let's keep in mind when we're loosening this bolt here how much pressure is on that. Oh, it seems to grab it easily. Not too worried. Way back when. goes with the safety glasses. Because this part of the mount is sitting on top of this cross member or suspension frame. It doesn't matter. Oh, look. See, we just moved around. It just tells me that all the weight is now on my jack. There we go. Okay, there we go. See? Like I said, there's always more than one way to do things. All that's left now that's holding the transmission to the engine is the one bolt that's on top. I think I said earlier I'm going to try to get that from the top, but it looks like the engine just dropped a little bit, so it's a little bit of an angle, and I've got a good view at it, and it looks like I can actually get it from the back here. Put another extension on my number of extensions, and I should be able to get it off. It may not look pretty, but it's going to work. Let's go. Well, let's hope it's going to work, okay? And once I undo that bolt, then transmission should come out. I chose to not strap the transmission onto the jack because I don't think it's that heavy and it's not going to be a hazard it falling off. Let's hope I don't eat my words. Last bolt is right up there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 extensions here. Let's see. The socket goes onto the bolt. Johnson bar goes to the back, and remember your lefty loosey very tidy. Nope, let's not knock the camera over. There you go. I'm actually loosening it now with my hand. Tells me there's no tension or pressure or anything on there right now. Okay, I think that's it. Let's go get that bolt. Here we go. Quick recap where we're at. We moved drive shaft, we moved reverse switch plug, unbolted the clutch slave cylinder which is still stuck in the transmission, so I'll be careful when I pull the transmission out. I don't yank that off, so I'm hoping that once I wiggle it loose, I'll bring it back a little bit, that slave cylinder should hopefully come out. We'll have to take a look for that. Installed the engine support plate, removed left and right transmission mounts, popped off and removed the shifter cables. Look at the drive shaft that's just going to be lying there for now, hanging. Let's see, did I miss something? I'm going to jack it up. Nope, that's not breaking the seal either. I'm going to check the top, make sure there's nothing else holding it. Well, transmission wouldn't come loose, so I crawled under the car and took another look. Looks like I missed 2 bolts at the very bottom, one on each side, one on the left, one on the right. I looked at the Bentley manual and also at Wayne Dempsey's manual. Let there be a lesson. Sometimes it helps to read the instructions. So let me show you what bolts they are, and then I'm gonna show you how I jimmy rigged to get one of the bolts off. A little bit of a tricky bolt in a tricky spot. So the first one on your right, it's actually fairly easy to get to. It's right here. This bolt is right here. 15mm, and what I like to do sometimes, I learned this myself a long time ago. I put on another wrench. Oh, this is not working here. Never mind. Here's the bolt. 15mm. There we go. Or nut. It's actually a nut, not a bolt. And on the other side, we have a little bit of a trickier situation here. Let's see, let me bring the camera in here if you can see this. There is this
Torx looking bolt that's kind of tucked away with little space to put a socket and a Torx bit. So I've already tried this and I didn't have any space. It's like some kind of 10-point Torx, which I don't have, and I don't really feel like buying special tools just for one bolt. So what I have done here, let me show you. I've taken a T30 Torx 5/16 wrench and an 11 millimeter wrench. And let me show you how I jimmy rigged this together to be able to get this bolt off. Taking the T30 socket with a 5/16 wrench, I set the 5/16 wrench over the T30 bit, and now I'm going to put that into the bolt. And then I'm going to take another wrench and lock it onto the end of this wrench to get some leverage, and hopefully we will loosen that bolt. Okay, let's see. Put this in here, and I take my, what happens to be 11 millimeter wrench. I lock that in here, and then I was able to loosen that bolt. That's the best I can do with the video, guys. Sorry if it's too shaky. Transmission removal take 2. Remove those two extra, one nut, one bolt. So in theory, I should wiggle this thing loose and it should just come right off. So, oh, think of luck. There's something wiggling loose here. Maybe now I know why Porsche wants you to take the engine and tranny out together. It's now a good half inch separated from the engine. I have the engine supported with a support plate, and I just put the jack under the sump cover just in case. Once the transmission is out, I can lower it a little bit. I get a better view at the slave cylinder. Whoa! There she goes! Well, maybe I should have strapped it down, but how do I tackle the slave cylinder? That's the other question. There we go. Slave cylinder removed, hanging freely. Let's lower this transmission. Bring it out. Lower it. Whoa! Yeah. Perhaps strapping it down and be a bad idea. But I don't think this is going to be too heavy.